Hi, everybody. How's it going? It's Maurice Brown on the Maurice Brown Comedy Show, the NFL edition on bogradio.fm. And we're going to be joined in just a few moments by hip hop artist Antoine A.S. Stewart and Aaron Too Tall Moore, who's getting ready, and also possibly nephew Caleb Lopes, my nephew, who is out of the playoffs, by the way, in case anybody's keeping score. His team, John Carroll High School out of Fort Pierce, Florida. They made it to the first round of playoffs. They're out. Great year. Caleb's going to the NFL, everybody, as you well know, kicking 45 yards as a freshman in high school. Just a good sample size for him. I expected them to go farther, but they made the playoffs. And they had an undefeated regular season. So hopefully Caleb's going to be joining us later. He's a very busy young man. He's a 4.0 student, and he's got a lot of things on his plate. But he'll be joining us a little bit later on, as well as I said before, hip-hop artist Antoine A.S. Stewart. So in the meantime, matter of fact, there's Aaron Too Tall right there. Aaron Too Tall Moore, welcome to the show. What's going on, brother?
How you doing, sir?
Good to see you. I'm doing well. Just talking about my nephew, Caleb Lopes. His team got knocked out last week, first round of the playoffs in Fort Pierce, Florida. They lost to Dillard High School, but a good year. They had an undefeated regular season. And again, he's kicking 45 yards out as a freshman on the varsity. Big things are coming.
Yes.
45 yards. Big things are definitely coming. Yes. So we're going to get started with Week 11 results. Too Tall. We're going to start out with last week. Your team, the Eagles and the Commanders, 26-18, Philadelphia. What were your thoughts and takeaways from this matchup?
I think that even whoever won this game, I don't believe that will be the team that's going to potentially win the NFC East. I still think it's up in the air. I still think any one of these two teams can grab that crown. Of course, Eagles have the edge right now, but preferably the game. I think that Commanders didn't. I would say they gave the game away, in my opinion.
Okay.
They didn't create the opportunities that was presented to them in the game. When you play games like that, you got to make plays, and they didn't make enough plays at the end.
They did not make enough plays at the end. I tell you, and as we break down the Commander-Eagle game, we're going to welcome to the show also hip-hop artist Antoine A.S. Stewart. What's up, Stu?
What's going on, fellas?
Everything's good. Just to break down the Commander-Eagle game, I thought in this particular matchup that we talked about a little bit a few days ago, Too Tall, you and I, about the fact that maybe the Redskins, maybe the Commanders should have kicked that field goal instead of having, Jaden try to run and get that first down. They were right down on the 15-yard line or something like that. They were going in. I think the score was like 13-10 Philly, or it might have been 12-10 Philly. But his hand was messed up. Jaden never looked comfortable in that game. He was cold. He was hurt. And I just would have kicked that.
So he had cut his hand sometime previously early in that game. And every time they would close it up, it would open when he would go back, and his hand would get bloody. And if you see when he was throwing the balls was always low. They was always coming out low. They didn't have zip on it.
Mm-hmm.
And even knowing that at that time, I think Dan Quinn should have kicked the field goal, because as soon as he got the snap, what did he do? He bobbled the ball.
Yeah.
So
now, I got to give the Eagles DBs credit, because when he stuck his foot in the ground, I said he got that first down. He got it. And, man, they closed on him like white on rice. I was like, wow. Stu, what were your thoughts about the Commander-Eagle matchup?
Man, it was definitely a great game. Great rivalry. They were competing for first place. Both teams played great football. The Eagles, we edged them out. I know that the Commanders were a little banged up, but it's football. Everybody is. It was a great game, man. It was close. What was it, like 1 point, right? Or
26-18.
26-18. I mean, you guys were right there. You're going to see that team again. That was the first matchup, so you got to play them again. So you got a chance to get your lick back before the postseason starts. But I definitely think that it was a preview of a playoff game. But hopefully, the Commanders end up with the win next time.
Now, I'm going to go to my boys, Green Bay and the Bears, 2019. We won the ball game. We should have lost it. Everybody knows that. I mean, you get down there at I think they were on the Packer 29 yard line, 28 yard line, and you got a 46-yarder. Bears going to get their first win over Green Bay in 11 tries. And lo and behold, we go in there and we block this thing. But before I talk it, because I'm so excited we won the ball game. I'm like, man, we got out of there. We escaped. Here's the radio call by Wayne Larrivee of Packers Radio. Check it out.
Yard, field goal attempt. Torrey Taylor on the hold. Scott Daly the snap. Cairo Santos for the game. Here's the snap. Placement made. The kick is blocked. It is blocked. It is blocked. And the Packers have won.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. It comes up short, and the Packers have won 11 straight over the Bears, 20-19.
I love it, man. We got out of that joint. So I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I thought we played a poor ball game. Jordan Love's not getting better. And the Bears had us dead to rights for all intents and purposes. It was their game. Stu, your impressions.
I mean, football is about a game of inches. I don't agree with Jordan Love not getting better. Look, Patrick Mahomes been struggling all year. They got their first loss. It's about wins and losses. That's what it's about. It's not about playing your best football week in and week out. It's about getting the win. You may not play very good, but if you can get the dub, you got next week to build on that. Because at the end of the day, you can be like Kirk Cousins and put, even though he hasn't been doing that this year, but the usual Kirk Cousins and packing up all the stats, but can't win a game in the postseason. It's all about the win. So hats off. It's so many close games each week, and special teams plays a huge part in this. A lot of these teams, they like to go for it now, and they look at whatever the computer tells them to do, and that's what they do. But 3 points is so big in this game. And even the extra point is big. So hats off to y'all for getting it done. We lost by, I believe, a point as well. So, it could go either way. But, hey, you got to get those close, especially the divisional games. Those games matter the most. They may be nasty. They may be ugly. You may not have played your best game, but if you come off with a win, you're ahead of the pack.
It's reported that Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coach for the Green Bay Packers, had noted that Cairo Santos, the kicker for the Chicago Bears, has a tendency to kick line drives. And they believe going into the game, we're going to get one of these. I mean, that was the talk in the Packer locker room before. We're going to get one of these. So it comes down to, it's like that movie that Denzel Washington did called The Little Things. Just the little things can make all the difference. And that's the difference between good and bad organizations. Oftentimes, it comes down to the little things. Who would have figured that having that in your back pocket at such a critical point of the game was going to get you a win? Because we were done. We were dead to rights, and we had the three fat boys line up in front of that center, and they were tall fat boys, and they got their hands up, Jack. And sure enough, he kicked the low one, and we were able to block it. Your impressions of Packers Bears, Too Tall?
Like Stu said, them divisional games, it go either way. I mean, I would say this: Jordan Love does have to play better, though.
He's got to play better. He's got to play better.
He does have to play better, especially going down the stretch. You don't want to play your worst ball going down the stretch, hitting into the playoffs. But he has to step it up. You stole one. Stole. So you take it, you learn from it, and you move on to the next week. So but again, I mean, Packers Bears. You guys won 11 straight, but still, it's still Packers Bears, and it go either way. But like Jordan Love does have to play better, and I think he will.
Well, I think it's concerning. We got the 49ers coming up. We're going to talk about San Francisco a little bit later on in this program, but we got them coming up. That's the very team where Jordan once again cost us the ball game, but trying to throw across his body with the last possession, and and an opportunity to maybe send the thing into overtime. Of course, we had Anders Carlson, so that probably going to happen anyway. So let's move to the next ball game. Steelers Ravens 18-16 Pittsburgh. What a matchup. What do we say about the Ravens as once again, they lose when they've had every opportunity to be 11-0 at this point, and they're 7-4. Stu, your thoughts?
That was another divisional game. And as we stated earlier, you know how those games go. You got two good teams going. Of course, Pittsburgh is at home. The reliable kicker the Ravens have, Justin Tuck, he missed 2 field goals. That's 6 points.
Yeah.
If he makes those field goals, the Ravens win the game.
Right.
So, again, special teams. It comes down to special teams. You're not going to be able to blow everybody out. You're going to have those tough, hard-nosed games where things are not going your way, and it's going to come down to 3 points. And you got to count on your guys that's their only job as special teams is to kick those field goals as far as the kickers and be money. And usually Tucker is money. Usually he's money. This year he's had a spotty season. Can't take nothing away from him, of course. Watching the film, you're going to find things that you could have done better as far as execution. You're going to find things from a coach's standpoint that you could have done better. In my personal opinion, Henry needs 20 touches minimum each week. 20 is the magic number. If you go well above it, fine. But he at least needs 20 touches each week. He didn't get that again. I feel like when he doesn't get 20, things usually don't go their way. I think that's one thing they need to keep in mind. But great hard-nosed football. Ravens, again, just like the Commanders, they get to get their lick back at home. They lost on the road. We'll see what happens when Pittsburgh has to come to Baltimore.
So, Too Tall, we look at the Pittsburgh Steelers at 8-2. Are they a Super Bowl contending team that can maybe dethrone the Chiefs, knock out the Bills? Are the Steelers for real?
I would say they for real, but I don't think they will knock off the Chiefs or the Bills. I just don't think the offense, unless the defense steps up and plays a magical game, if they get to that point. But I just don't think that offense could keep up with the Bills. I know the Chiefs' offense been struggling a little bit, but I think they can. But I think it depends what type of game it is. If it's a dirty, down, low scoring defensive game, yeah. But I don't see them. I don't see them making a deep run. I just don't, this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it, but the Ravens. My concerning thing about the Ravens is these games. This happens too often in these games.
Yes,
it happens every single year, and I really don't understand it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Derrick Henry was even in the game on that last 2-point conversion that they ran.
No,
he wasn't.
was not.
That baffles me. I don't understand why he wasn't in there. Even as a decoy, you put him in there, even as the chance that he may get the rock. But I mean, I don't understand. Like Stu said, I think he should be getting 20, 25, 30 carries a game, touches a game. And when he don't, I just don't understand what they be got going on over there. But every single year they tend to show flashes where you can't trust them.
Well, I totally agree with you. And we're going to talk more about the offensive coordinator situation in Baltimore because there's no excuse for Derrick Henry not to be on the field. At the same time, I don't think we can give Lamar Jackson a pass either. I mean, he's got a big bag that they gave him.
Correct.
To get it done in these kinds of games. And once again, he doesn't. It's one thing when you're playing the Titans and the Jets and the Colts. It's another thing when you come up there and you got to deal with one of the big boys in the league and you have paid this man his money and he doesn't show up. And he consistently doesn't show up in these games. I mean, it was 18-16. Yep. And I'm expecting Lamar Jackson to convert critical situations, and he's not getting it done. And it doesn't bode well going into the playoffs, on top of the fact that they're not even using Derrick Henry, a guy that they went out and got specifically to cover Lamar when he's struggling in these kind of situations. Like, hey, give the ball to Derrick, and let's get out of here. And let's go get the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And I don't know what they're doing in Baltimore. You bring up a great point there, Aaron. The other finals in the league, 52-6, the Lions over Jacksonville. Come on, Detroit. You have to do that to them, man. The Rams, 28-22 over the Patriots. The Saints, 35-14. The Saints introduced a little bit of Taysom Hill in this one. I think it's a little bit too late to talk about anything serious regarding the New Orleans Saints. And then the Colts go out and knock out Aaron Rodgers and the Jets again, 28-27. Stu, I pose this question to you. Is this the end of the road for Aaron Rodgers after this season?
It's one of those things where I guess depending on his body and how he's feeling, this is not the way. I'm pretty sure they're not the way he planned this season, the way he thought this season would pan out. A lot of pieces have changed. The ownership has shown the inability to be stable. Right. You have a great coach, a great defensive coach. Defense looks good. You have offensive struggles. You fire your defensive coach. Makes no sense. I don't know what they're doing from the GM to the head to the ownership, but it seems like, the Jets have never, they've had some splashes and stuff like that where they had decent teams, but they've never been one of those teams that we just like, oh man, great organization, great this, great that. And they're showing it. The decision-making has been poor. Aaron Rodgers is underperforming. He is coming off of Achilles injury, and he is a guy who doesn't get a lot of credit for using his legs, but Aaron Rodgers uses his legs a lot in his game. And if he's not able to do the same, that dulls a 40, 41-year-old quarterback down a lot. They got to figure it out. I don't believe that this will be his last year. I don't believe he wants to go out like that. He just convinced his main man, Adams, to come over there. So Devontae Adams. So I believe they're going to try to do it again. Have an off season to where they fix whatever struggles they need, or they think they're fixing it, and try to do it one more time. I do believe next year, if they don't get it, that will be it. But we'll have to wait and see.
One of the things about Aaron Rodgers, me being a Packer fan, is watching him in Green Bay escape pressure, get outside the box, and throw a strike consistently. Yeah. He doesn't have that ability anymore. He's coming off of an ACL tear at 40. He can't do that. So you have really eliminated 40% of Aaron Rodgers' Hall of Fame ability. You know, his calling card, a lot of people don't understand. Lamar Jackson is like a 10 as far as being mobile. And Aaron Rodgers at the top of his game was like a 7 or 8. Like, he could get away from pressure. But we're not seeing that in New York. And also the defense has let the Jets down. I mean, you got 27 points on the board here, and you still lose. Too tall, your impressions?
I think he's done.
Okay.
If you just look to see what's going on, he came to play for Robert Saleh. He's gone.
Yeah.
The GM who brought him over here, Joe Douglas, he's gone.
He's gone. Yes, sir.
Hackett is still there. Hackett hanging on by his shoelace.
Who got demoted, by the way, though.
Got demoted.
He got demoted.
Got demoted.
Yeah.
And I don't even think old Woody still want him there to own him.
Well, they said they thought about benching him after they lost to the Broncos 10-9 up about 5 weeks ago. They thought about benching Aaron Rodgers.
So 5 weeks ago, Saleh was still there. Saleh fights for Aaron Rodgers to keep his job.
And then Aaron says, yo.
And then Aaron says, you know, and then Robert gets fired. It's just a mess, man. It's a mess. I don't think he wants to. Frankly, I don't think he wants to be there anymore. To tell you the truth, I think he would rather just. I think this is Aaron last year playing. Now I don't. Will another team give him a shot? I doubt it, because they don't want the circus around it. I mean, what team do I see him going to? I can't see a team trying to hand on him. I think this is it for him. I don't think he comes back to the Jets next year. If he tries to play next year, it may be because of an injury that happens to someone, and they like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is out there, let's bring him in. Other than that, I think this is it for Aaron.
You know what, dude? It might be. I feel bad for him because I don't think it's all his fault. But when you look at the numbers, Zach Wilson's winning percentage was like 342. Sam Darnold's winning percentage was like 338. And Aaron Rodgers is like 289. And we all thought that, certainly if you can win 7-8 games with Darnold and Wilson, you can win 10 or 11 with Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. And it's been the opposite effect. And I just think that you're right, Aaron. It may be the end of the road for him. He just isn't able to move out of the pocket, and it's a sad situation. That is a soap opera over there in New York. The Jets have been losers for the last 14 years. Okay? I mean, they've been bums perennially for the last 14 years. And it's more on the organization than it is on Aaron. But as Bill Parcells says, you are what your record says you are. And they suck. They just suck. Anyway, we're gonna keep going. We'll look at the Vikings 23-13 over the Titans, the Broncos 38-6 over the Falcons, and then Stu, I gotta give the floor to you, dude. I'm looking at Seattle and San Francisco, and I'm going, oh, yeah, the 49ers are going to blow these guys out of the park. Like, this is going to be ugly. They're going to have to stop the game. And they lose to Seattle 20-17. Biggest upset of the weekend. Stu, the floor is yours.
I think it's, as we've been stating, for all these other division games, 49ers Seattle. It's in the divisional game. You can throw out all the statistics, throw out all the other stuff. Know that you're going to get their best shot. And, we did enough to win. At the end, they made a little bit more plays than we did. We let Geno, run the ball in for that last touchdown. and we lost by 3 points. So we tied 1-1 with them this year, but it's been that type of season for us. If while watching the game, penalties were a big thing. It was like every other play was a flag thrown. We did this wrong. We did that wrong. A lot of things we got to clean up, from penalties to injuries. You know, McCaffrey comes back, Kittle goes out. You know what I'm saying? It's just like we keep playing this game. But I know one thing, that, you know, we got Green Bay. We got Green Bay coming up. You know, it's about to get real. We're going to have to lock in, as Richard Sherman stated. It's time to have that teams only meeting. We're sitting at 500, but you got 3 teams in our division that are sitting at 500, 5-5. Only team that's above 500 with 6 wins is the Arizona Cardinals. It's time to have a players only meeting in that locker room, as Sherman stated, and be like, look, fellas, are we about to lock in, or do I need to go ahead and book my vacation? Because we're not planning on making the postseason. So they need to get real with themselves and really buckle down. There are things schematically from the coaching standpoint, especially on the defensive side, that it's like every year it feels like we got a different defensive coordinator and they got to figure it out every year. But that's football. You know, it's up to the coaches to figure out their side, and it's up for the players to execute the game plan. So we got to figure it out. It's getting close to that do or die time. Luckily, the division is close, where you have 3 teams tied with 5-5 as far as record wise, but it's getting close, man. We got the big boys coming up. So we got your Packers coming up, and definitely a team that we can't sleep on. And we got to buckle down. The time is now to lock in.
Well, I think Lambeau Field might be just what you need right now. We're not playing good football. I'm going to ask this question right here to you, Too Tall. Are the 49ers in danger of the unthinkable, missing the playoffs?
Are they in danger? I mean, I think they're in danger because they've been up and down. But I was looking at their schedule earlier, but I do think they still make the playoffs.
Okay.
I think they finished 10-7.
Okay.
But now I had them beating the Packers, but Lambeau Field is going to be something. It's going to be something on Sunday. And
yeah, we're not playing good football, though, Aaron. We're not playing.
You're not, but teams get up for big games. And y'all play Chicago last week. This is the 49ers.
Right.
They're going to get up for this game. And the 49ers know that. They know that they're going to get up for this game. But I was surprised that the 49ers lost at home. I think that was the biggest surprise for me, because usually they don't do that.
No, they don't do that. They do not do that.
Now the telling games the telling games that I believe, they have the Bears, they have the Dolphins, then they have the Bills, Rams, and Lions. The Bills, Rams, and Lions, that 3 stretch right there, I think that's the make or break right there.
It could very well be the make or break part of their year as they're coming down the home stretch. You're right.
Yeah, but I still believe that they're gonna make the playoffs. I think they're gonna finish 10-7.
Well, I can believe that. I'm still not convinced the 49ers are not capable of being the 49ers that we know. I'm just not convinced of that. I'm almost tempted to say, Stu, that there's something going on with the culture over there in that locker room. We saw Deebo Samuel hit the long snapper a couple of weeks ago. Their special teams have been off. They've had a ton of injuries. And you know as well as I do, Aaron, you stated this a couple of weeks ago, winning solves everything and losing breeds problems. And people start pointing fingers and start playing the blame game. Oh, you didn't do this. You didn't. Matter of fact, I heard the long snapper hit the field goal kicker in the head with the helmet. I'm like, hey, man, wait a minute, y'all. Wait, everybody calm down. Hold on now. What's up? What's going on here? So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, losing to the Seahawks, dude, at home when you know you got to get it going tells me that there's a bigger problem maybe going on.
I would say this,
Yeah.
Mo. I would say this, Mo. On the defense for the 49ers, a lot of that stuff does happen within the locker room that nobody sees.
Right.
It's just the fact that we saw it, that we kind of making it a big deal. But I mean, it happens all the time. It's just that people don't see it.
I
So
mean,
But but Aaron, the good teams are mindful to make sure you don't air your dirty laundry.
That is true, though.
Keep that stuff in the locker room, man. We're not going to do this out here. You know what I mean? So
I would say this, though. I would say this. You know,
Yeah.
the 40 is no secret. The 49ers are a passionate team.
Yeah.
We're accustomed to winning. You know, since Cal has been here, we've, for the most part, been a winning team. If you look at 2019, when we went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G, the following year, we missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we did have that Super Bowl hangover. It's feeling a little similar. Not as bad, but it's feeling a little similar. But, you know, we are dealing with some other issues, the injury bug, you know, a lot of other things going on. The defense is not what the players are there, but the coaching is not what we're accustomed to. We got to get over that, you know, things that we have to get over. And as I stated earlier, players only meeting, it's time to lock in. Everybody got to lock in.
Yeah.
And we have enough captains on that team to where I think the message can get across. And it takes a team like the Green Bay Packers on the road, because surprisingly this year we've been better on the road than at home. It's usually the opposite. But on the road in Lambeau, get away from the family, get away from the distractions, get away from whatever situation is going on. Our number one corner, you know, he's been out 2 or 3 weeks. Prayers for him and his family. He lost his daughter. So it's just been a lot of things happening, but you know, you got to deal with it. You gotta manage it. And I think a road trip is what we need. Get on the road, get away from our families, leave the wives at home. We'll see you Thanksgiving. Leave the families at home, all the distractions with the kids and stuff. Let's go on the road to Lambeau and let's lock in. And this is the type of game that we needed, a game that we respect you guys. You guys are a playoff team. We know that you're not playing your best football, but you've been winning games, something that we haven't. You know, we're 500. And this is the type of game that just shake us out of that rut. If we lose to the Packers, it's not looking too good. It's not over, but we need this win more than the Packers need this win. I believe that.
Well, no, I totally agree with you. This is a must-win situation for San Francisco at Lambeau Field, Sunday, 4:25. It's marquee game of the week, along with the Ravens and Chargers on Monday night. Some other scores: Buffalo 30-21 over the Chiefs. What message to all did the Bills send by beating the Chiefs Sunday?
I mean, I don't believe they sent them a message. I just believe they caught them at the right time.
Okay.
I think the Chiefs was due for a loss. But I will say this. I think when the Bills and Chiefs meet in the AFC Championship game, I think that the Bills are going to win this time.
Okay.
I think the Bills. I give it to the Bills. I think the Bills are. This has been playing. I mean, playing better overall football. I think that the Chiefs. I don't know what's wrong with their offense. I don't know what's wrong with Patrick Mahomes. Even though they've been winning, but you can't play like that all year and expect to, expect to get what you want to get.
Right.
What you're trying to get. So if they don't get that offense together, I think they might not even make it to the AFC Championship game. Somebody might sneak up and steal it from them. So they're going to have to get it together. But right now, at this point, I think the Bills got the Chiefs' hand this time. But I don't think they sent them a message. I just think they called them at the right time.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Stu, what do you think about that matchup? Did the Bills send a message to everybody?
I believe they did.
Okay.
Not just focused on the Chiefs. I think they showed the NFL like, look, man, this is not the Josh Allen of old, where we win a whole bunch of games but can't get it done against this team. Or, of course, it's a lot more football to go, and you got to prove this in the postseason when it really matters. But I think the Bills are in a great place. They don't have any drama queens on the field fighting for attention. Everybody's like, look, let's just win. Whoever it takes each week, it could be a different person. Whatever we got to do to get the dub. And it allows your quarterback to play more freely. Instead, he got, I got to get this guy such amount of, balls. He's a great player. And, I may not throw it to the open guy and throw it to him just so he can get his touches. Look, man, hit the open man. Play your game. Don't have to worry about going to the huddle, hearing it from a diva receiver or stuff like that. So
Right.
I think they definitely letting the NFL know, like, look, this is going to be different this year. And, it might be in a fair world, you know what I'm saying? But unless they got us three out there referencing that playoff game, you know how them zebras are, man. Them zebras are relentless.
Yeah.
I just, it's one of those things where I'm so scarred by the zebras. I just got to see it to believe it in the postseason, because we know what happens in the postseason when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. And now last year, when it comes to that singer that they love putting the cameras on. So, but I believe that the Bills have a better team. The Chiefs have better stars. If you just put Patrick Mahomes' name out there by itself, and that head coach Andy Reid and the offensive play calling. But I think, like Aaron, I think it might be different this year. I feel like it's time for the Bills to get their just due. Josh Allen is playing MVP, having an MVP type season. He's doing it in bunches, different receivers. He has weapons around him. He needed that Amari Cooper, somebody, a true number one receiver, but he's spreading the ball around. They're running the ball. They're playing good defense. Everything seems to be working. If they can stay healthy, I think they may be one of the favorites to go into represent the AFC. But the AFC is so loaded.
Yeah,
Any
it
one
is.
of those
It's
teams.
loaded.
I mean,
Loaded
from
conference.
the
Yeah.
Chargers to the Ravens to the Steelers to the,
Absolutely.
anybody can get hot, and it only takes one loss. That's it. You could be the better team. This is not the NBA. You're not going to do a best out of 7 matchup. It's going to be one and you're done.
One
And
shot.
anybody can get it. So I definitely think the Bills sent a message to the NFL like, we're coming.
I think the Amari Cooper trade changed the entire trajectory for the Bills. Like, that was the one piece that they needed. I mean, they were already decent to pretty good, but they were missing something. Didn't like the receiving core. Josh is running too much. Remember when I told you, if Josh keeps doing that, running out of that pocket, he's going to end up in the hospital with one of these suckers right here. So they got Amari to mitigate all the running. But when he has to run, he's going to run you over. And the Bills are looking dangerous, man. And they are on track right now. To me, I wouldn't be shocked if they made the Super Bowl. But like you said, Stu, you got the Steelers, you got the Ravens, you got the Chiefs. And then, as I mentioned all that, I go to the LA Chargers, who beat the Bengals. And I feel so bad for Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. I mean, they keep balling out every week offensively, but they can't stop anybody. Joe Burrow's getting no help from the defense. The Chargers win this ball game 34-27, and they are not chopped liver. Is it time to start taking the LA Chargers seriously? Too tall.
I would say seriously to make the playoffs, yes. Seriously to attend to the AFC Championship, I would say no.
Okay.
You got to show me. You got to do it when it counts.
Right.
You got to do it in the postseason, and they haven't shown that yet.
Okay.
But when they make the playoff, I believe they're gonna make the playoffs. I mean, they're on track to do that. So we'll see what they can do in the playoffs. But I don't really think they're gonna be a push for that AFC title. But I mean, can they surprise somebody in the playoffs? Of course they can. I mean, they got a great coach, great staff, great team, great quarterback. I mean, defense is decent. So yeah, they could shock a team, but I don't think they on that next level with the Bills and the Chiefs and I can't even the Ravens. I don't even think they on Pittsburgh level yet. I think they got a little time to go.
Antoine A.S. Stewart, what are your thoughts about the LA Chargers? Is it time to start taking them seriously as a team that has a shot at making a run at the Super Bowl?
Most definitely. I was premature. I took them seriously before the season started because I knew what type of coach they were getting. I know the hardball effect, and I know what it does. And I know if he has something that is already something there, he's working with something. He doesn't have to create things. I knew the type of cultural change he was going to install in that locker room because that was the biggest thing for the longest. The Chargers needed a change in culture. They had the quarterback, they had the receivers, they had different weapons. They weren't tough enough on the defensive side of the ball. They were missing that grit. They were missing everything the epitome of Jim Harbaugh. They have that now. And I think quiet is kept. They've been a little quiet on the radar. But I think after this week, if they get a win over the Baltimore Ravens, everybody's going to be like, okay, the Chargers are for real. This is not the same Chargers we're used to dealing with, and we have to seriously start talking about them when you mentioning these other teams that lead the division.
Now this is why I say you can't take them seriously, because when you say the Chargers take them seriously, right? When you say, let's just say it's a playoff game, LA Chargers at Buffalo, LA Chargers at Kansas City, LA Chargers at Pittsburgh. You ain't picking the LA Chargers, in my opinion. Now, if you taking the team seriously, you're gonna be like LA Chargers at Buffalo. Okay, that's gonna be a good game. They might sneak up on Buffalo. Buffalo better watch out. So you can't. That's what I'm thinking about when I say, can you take this team seriously? And I just don't see that.
I see it, bro. I see it right now.
I think the old image of the LA Chargers, like look at the Bengal Charger game this past week, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, the Chargers are going to lose that game. I mean, the Chargers are going to lose that game. They don't finish. That's their history. They're a team that disappoints. And so they got my attention when it looked like Joe Burrow and the Bengals were going to finish them off. The Chargers did what they were supposed to do to finish the Bengals off. And that's not something we see from the Chargers. So I think getting back to Antoine's point about Harbaugh and the culture that he brings to that locker room, like, oh no, we're going to win tough games. We're going to finish this game out. And I think they started out slow, and they're starting to get a Harbaugh identity as we get to week 12. But with that being said, we're going to jump into the games coming up this weekend. We're going to skip over our Power 5 and go right to the matchups this weekend coming up, starting with tomorrow night, the Steelers and Browns, 8:15, Prime Video. I mean, does anybody really care about this matchup? I mean, you got Jameis Winston, okay, the bucket of crab guy, stealing bucket of crabs guy. Okay, do we really think the Browns are going to do anything in this game? No, we don't think anything about that. We go to Sunday at 1 o'clock, and we got the Bucks and the Giants at 1. Daniel Jones is going to be replaced by the pizza delivery guy, Danny DeVito. And so we ain't going to worry about that game. The Chiefs and the Panthers, I mean, come on, do we really think the Panthers should even bother to show up? I like the Cowboys and Commander matchup simply because of the rivalry. We talked about the Packers, the Bears. We talked about the Ravens and the Steelers. Is there any reason to believe the Cowboys are going to show up for rivalry's sake in this matchup, Stu?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that, to be honest with you, I'm not saying that Cooper Rush is a better quarterback than Dak, but it seems like they've been playing better since he's been starting. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why that's happening. I think that they're going to give the Commanders their best shot. It is a divisional game. We know how, I cannot stress that enough about how divisional games work. The Cowboys can look like the worst team in the league, but when they play the Commanders, for whatever reason, they're going to show up and vice versa. I do think this is a different Commanders team than we're used to seeing, and they're going to be able to win this game and get it done at home. They don't want to lose back-to-back divisional games against divisional opponents. And I think that they're going to go ahead and get it done against the Cowboys. But I think the Cowboys are going to make it a little interesting there for a little bit. But I think the Commanders are going to push past them.
Too Tall, what do you think? You are a Commander fan. You are a DC resident. You love Washington. They've been doing a great job this year. They're 7-4. They could very well be 8-3, 9-2 very easily. They've been able to stand up with the big teams. They have not been blown out by anybody. And now their rivalry with the Cowboys comes up this week, and a team that nobody believes is going to win another game this year in Dallas. What are your thoughts about this matchup, Cowboys Commanders?
This is a blowout. We're going to blow this. It's not going to be a game in the fourth quarter. The Cowboys, they can't run the ball. Rush, he's a backup for a reason. Defense is out of range. The Texans just was going up and down the field on them. They're not going to be in this game in the fourth quarter. I guarantee you that. We have basically the Cowboys. We have Joe Witt. Of course, we have Dan Quinn as our quarterback. Our head coach. They know this team better than anybody. And trust me, they're going to put a game plan in place that this game, we get out early on the Cowboys going to shut down. Their season is over. They looking for the hills. They ready to get out of there. And best believe we still got some players on that team from last year's team when they was eating chicken wings in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left on the sideline.
Yes, sir.
And
we lemon pepper wings.
So we remember that. And I guarantee you somebody's saying that in that locker room, and probably Deron Payne. But this is not going to be a close game. Fourth quarter is going to be over. It's going to be a blowout. I understand what Stu's saying that this Cowboys and Washington, but if this is a close game, it's a problem. And but I see no reason why this can't be over in the fourth quarter.
I would agree with you. It looks like to me every ounce of fight in Dallas is gone. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that this rivalry, and we know this rivalry is blood and guts. When you think that the other one is so bad that it won't be, any need to watch it, that other one that doesn't have anything left in the tank, they win, or they at least make it competitive. It's always been the case between these two teams. Very rarely do you get the blowouts. But I think in this case, to me, I'm going to have to agree with you, Aaron. I think this is going to be ugly. I really think Dallas is done. But we'll see. That's going to be at 1:00 on Sunday. The Patriots take on the Dolphins, who seem to be on somewhat of a come up at 4-6. Though I don't know how much of a come up they can really be taken seriously for. But that's 1:00 Sunday. The Titans and Texans at 1, the Lions and Colts at 1, Vikings at Bears. I thought that Caleb Williams benefited from the offensive coordinator switch. Does that, after what we saw against the Packers on Sunday, do we believe that the new OC in Chicago has transformed the trajectory of Chicago? And do you think the Bears have a shot at home against the 8-2 Vikings? I'll give it to you, Too Tall, on this one.
No, I do not. I think the Vikings are just a better team.
Yeah.
And they got film on what the new offensive coordinator is doing, and so it may be a little. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do believe that the Vikings will win this game. I just don't see the offense putting up enough points to keep up with even though Chicago has a great a good defense. I just don't see them keeping up with Chicago Vikings offense. And I got Caleb making some mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
That the Vikings, defense going to capitalize on.
Yeah.
And I just don't see him. I don't see him winning this game.
Stu, your thoughts on the effect of the new OC in Chi-Town?
I think it's too early to tell. As Aaron said, you got film on them. I mean, it's not like they're playing their best football even with him, because you can go back previously to games where they were scoring 30 points with the old offensive coordinator. So just depends on execution. So I think the Vikings are on a downward trajectory as far as things are a lot closer in their games. They're not really blowing teams out. They beat a Tennessee team 23-13, but their rookie quarterback almost put up 300 yards on the Vikings. So they've kind of slumped off a little bit as far as that goes. So if you have an emotionally charged Chicago team, it could give them a run for their money. I am picking the Vikings to hunker down and get it done, but I won't be surprised again if Chicago gives them a run for their money as well. I think it's just going to come down to execution, special teams, which has been a big thing this year. Who can take care of the football, turnovers? That's going to be a big one in this one as well. Whoever can win those in those areas should be able to win the game. But I think it's going to be a competitive fight. Chicago seems to get up for teams, the big teams, and they play down to their competition. That's what it appears so far. So I think it's going to be a good game, but I'm picking the Vikings to get it done.
At 4:05, we got the Broncos and the Raiders. Denver starting to look really interesting. Bo Nix is kind of like a guy that, some weeks he's Bo Nix that you expect to be out there on the field. And then other weeks, it looks like Sean Payton has had this huge effect on him. The Broncos are definitely a team that you better prepare for and take seriously. The Raiders, no matter how much they prepare, can forget it. Anyway, Sunday at 4:25, we got the 49ers and the Packers. As we talked about earlier, this is a must-win game for San Francisco, quite frankly and honestly. They need to go to Lambeau and win this game. And I really believe they can do it. I mean, I love my Green Bay Packers, but we're not playing good football. And if there's a time that the 49ers need to turn this thing around and get their mojo going, this is the game to do it in. That's going to be 4:25 Sunday. And the Cardinals versus the Seahawks at 4:25. Sunday night, we've got let's see, the Rams and the Eagles are hooking up, which could be an interesting game. That's going to be on NBC Peacock, 8:20 on Sunday night. But the game of the week, arguably, between 49ers and Green Bay. You also have the Ravens and the Chargers at SoFi in LA, 8:15 on ESPN. Stu, your thoughts?
Man, this is the game I was talking about earlier. I think this is the game that's going to show you that this is not the same Chargers that we're accustomed to seeing. They always had talent, but the culture is different. They're grittier. They can win those close games. That defense is playing different. That quarterback has a different level of confidence in him when you got your coach catching passes with you and smacking you in the chest, getting you hyped, telling you he believes in you. We've seen that effect to kind of what's going on in Colorado. They got studs down there, but when you got that coach, man, that great coach who believes in his players and installs that something about it, that winning culture, that swag, everything about it, you're going to start playing different. And this is the game for the Chargers to let the world know that we are for real. It's a Ravens team coming off of an ugly loss. They're going to be pissed off. I believe this is a game that Derrick Henry is going to get 20+ touches, and they're going to give the Chargers everything that they asked for. So if the Chargers are able to weather the storm in this game and come off with a win, I think it's going to let the NFL world know that they are for real.
Too Tall, your thoughts. Ravens Chargers 8:15 Monday night on ESPN.
I think it depends what type of game the offensive coordinator gonna call. I think sometimes he be in his trick bag too much and wants to rely on, on Lamar athleticism and all that. I think if he just hunker down, give the ball to Derrick Henry and let Derrick Henry get warmed up, let him get going, let him lay on them defensive backs, lay them, just weigh that defense down. I think Ravens should come out there with a win. But if he gets, pass happy with Lamar, want to drop back all the time, Lamar throwing 35 times, I think that's what the Chargers want. And I think if it's a game like that, I think the Chargers can steal this one and come up with the victory.
This is going to be a great game, and I totally agree with you, Stu, when you say this is the chance now for Harbaugh and the boys in LA to show the world, hey, look, we're here. We mean business, and we mean to make a run at this Super Bowl, not just the playoffs. We mean to go to the Super Bowl, and I mean, what better way to make that statement than against the Baltimore Ravens, who, in fact, in my opinion, as we talked about the 49ers, although they're not quite in the dire straits the 49ers are, the Ravens need to win this game. This is just about a must win for Baltimore because they're going to lose their leverage in seeding in the playoffs. And I'll tell you right now, Baltimore does not want to go on a road and play Pittsburgh. They do not want to go on a road and play Kansas City. And they do not want to go on a road and play Buffalo. The way they're playing right now, they don't want to do that. Todd Monken is messing around and being too cute.
Mm-hmm.
You got Derrick Henry, man. Give him the ball, Todd, and stop playing. You go to Liberty University and get cute.
One thing, can I point this out?
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point this out is I can't think of his name right now, but the offensive coordinator for the Chargers is the same offensive coordinator that was under Baltimore that when he got his name, they have the same because that offensive coordinator is tied to Harbaugh, but Harbaugh was in college. So, he was working wherever he can get it work. But he knows Lamar. He knows him very well. That offensive coordinator at Chargers. He was his offensive coordinator.
You talking about
Greg Roman. Greg Roman knows Lamar very well. And when Lamar became that star that he is right now, it was under Greg Roman's offensive calling. So I do want to point that in there. That is some familiarity between that coordinator and Lamar Jackson, and he's going to add his tweaks and give the defense their stuff. So it's going to be a good game, But as Aaron's pointed out, I'm giving the ball to Henry 30 times. 30 times is the magic number. If you give the ball to Henry 30 times, something's got to give. So you're going to find out what you're really made of. So
we're going to find out what he's really made of. No question about it. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us on bogradio.fm, the Maurice Brown Comedy Show NFL edition with Aaron Too Tall Moore and Antoine, hip-hop artist Antoine A.S. Stewart. We're going to get out of here. If you've enjoyed the show, like it and share it and subscribe to the Maurice Brown Comedy Channel. If you're coming in at the end, you can listen to this show in its entirety on Spotify and where all major podcasts are heard. So with that, we're going to get out of here. You guys have a great day. May the peace of Jesus Christ be with you and your families, everybody. God bless.